Audio check. Check, check, check. Check. Let's go. Let's go. Big stream yesterday. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Today, it is Thursday. We are not usually live, but the chart demanded that we do a little emergency spice stream here. Let me pull this chair up. I'm not even ready. Like, not even set up. I didn't do any homework. We just had to go live. Here we are. Bitcoin back at 100,000 for the first time since February. This is pretty wild stuff. Let's see. Let's go back. Let's look to the left. Last time we were at this price, or last time we closed above this price, February 3rd. So let's look. That has been 94 days. Wow. In those 94 days, the hype has gone from maybe like a 7 down to, I assume, like a 2. But we're here. We're hyped. What do you guys think? Is this the run? Are we moving back to all-time high? Are we breaking all-time high? You guys know I've never stopped saying I don't think the top's in. I think we have more to go this year. Looks like that is lining up pretty well. Lining up pretty well. Or are we? Or is the top in? Is the top in here for today? We're gonna reverse around here. So let's take a look at the chart. Like I said, I didn't do any homework, so we're gonna kind of take a first look together here, and hopefully we can help you in your analysis, or we can discuss, I don't know, what we think is the most probable next move. Nobody knows the future except for Miss Cleo, and she went to jail for it. Don't know the future. If you could, guys, smash the likes, the subscribes, share the stream out, join us. I've lost all touch. I used to think, or used to have a good grasp on like when people would be excited. Usually it was just big volatility, big moves, really like any big range breaking, etc. Now, no idea. Does not seem as if the boys are back. It feels like it's the same crew, and it's a great crew. I love you guys. I'm glad you're here, but it doesn't feel the same even as, I don't know, back in November when things were very hype, very spicy. I think that this is a good take. Sentiment has chilled out. In fact, I think people were very, very bearish into, and even just into April, into that death cross, really similar to the last lows we've seen. I think sentiment has reset. I think weak hands have been shaken out, and I think now we climb back. I think we're climbing to all-time high. Personally, it's a really hard call to say new all-time high, you know, like this month, right? We never can know that with any real certainty. I like this move. We're going to look in the chart. We're going to see just how strong it is, if we can kind of gauge it, and if we think it's probable for an all-time high to be coming sooner rather than later. I do believe it is coming, but like May-ish. Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek here. When in doubt, or when looking for inspiration, looking for anything on the chart, trying to just get a new look, just zoom out. Let's jump to the yearly candle. Yearly candle back green, has been green for all of May. We traded down low to our yearly low in April. Now we're back up to near our highs this year now, putting on an 8% gain that is welcomed from the red that we have seen for the most of this. Let's take a look at the half year. Those are some beautiful 6-month candles here. Looking at those 6 months, you would think, man, this is really just like every other 6-month period we have seen since the bottom. Low wick, high wick, green body, low wick, high wick, green body. Really, hindsight is going to make all of the feelings. If this is your first cycle, this is the one thing I think that remains consistent is hindsight will make all of the feelings you experienced during this run seem silly. You're gonna be like, why was I afraid? Why was I bearish? Why was I, not buying more? Or vice versa, right? When the top comes and goes, you'll be like, why didn't I sell it all? Why was I so bullish? It is gonna make us feel silly, and I think this candle is gonna be it's gonna be one that really fits that vibe. In this quarter, we are fresh into May with April behind us. We have traded lower than Q1, and that is similar to last year. We had a red Q2 last year. It was Q1 this year. Q2, but then Q3 brought us a lower low into our reversal. Now this candle looking a little bit different, kind of breaking this pattern. While we do have the lower low, we see that this quarterly last year was rejected by the red quarter and then rebounded, or kept moving into Q4. We did not reject here so far. Please knock on wood. If anyone is near any wood, just knock on it. Don't jinx it. Rub a bald guy's head, whatever you got to do. A fat guy's belly, whatever it is. I guess good luck. I don't even know if I want to say this out loud. Why are there so many good luck things that are like related to like rubbing dudes? Weird. That's just how luck works. I don't make the rules. Knock on wood that we hold it here, because this would be an amazing quarter. Even if we don't go higher in Q3, which TBD. We'll find out if I'm thinking that. But even if we don't go higher, this would be an amazing close. We would have a bullish engulfing from the bearish Q1 of this year. We would have I'll call it a kicker candle, or even you can call it a hammer candle maybe, with this long bottom wick, green body. This could be an order block, setting up a bullish order block above previous resistance. High time frames are shaping up here. It's crazy how little movement it takes. Let's say from 93 to here, an 8% move. Yet this has changed the chart from almost identical, looking for lower lows like last year, to maybe too much time to go. We still have a month and 23 days, so more than half of it, to looking extremely promising. So big number to hold while we've gone through this high time frame. Has been on this chart. There's really no change there. 93.3, that's the yearly open. That is the line in the sand. That is close above here on this quarter. Things are looking very good. Close below on this quarter, and maybe we have to wait all the way till Q4 to see 110,000 break. Let's go down a little more from the year to the half year to the quarter year. Let's go down to the month. Monthly shaping up. So this April, I think, has given us a pretty good sign for where we are in May already. With the rejection we saw in March, this was the danger, really. March traded lower than February, came back, tested previous support, flipped it as resistance. And remember, this is again 93.3. This is the big number. You guys saw me short 93.3 in March because this was such the pivot that I was afraid of and I was worried wouldn't break. And I basically said to myself, if we don't break 93.3, this run is over. This run will be over. And to me, that usually relates to, this is a good place to look for a head short. That short obviously now either liquidated or very underwater, and I'll have to check in on it. I haven't checked in on it. Don't care if it gets liquidated, honestly. But April faked us out with a lower low after this rejection. Everything on this monthly chart would have told us this is bearish, right? We had an all-time high. We built support, made an all-time high, traded lower, rejected from it, traded lower. Everything, logic, would have told us in April at 74, 75, this is why you felt this way, that we're going lower. this is kind of where charts go beyond what we see on the chart, right? There's signals, there's patterns, there's indicators, there's things we look for. But in Bitcoin specifically, and maybe it applies to all markets, but I'm not going to speak for all markets. For Bitcoin specifically, there always seems to be a moment where everything on our chart points the wrong way. This happens on the way up and it happens on the way down. Everything on the chart points the wrong way. For example, this, we'll use this one instead of jumping to a different example. At this low, we had lower lows on the month. We rejected from major support on a big time frame. Everything logically would have been pointing to lower. We had the death cross on the day. We had all of our indicators just smashed into the ground. Everything pointing lower. At the most, I would say TA works pretty consistently a lot, maybe like 95% of the time. But on these big pivot, major swing moves, TA almost always points us in the wrong direction. It is a statistically smaller amount of time, but it is sometimes most important times. Bitcoin just always gets to these points. And kind of going in the other way, let's say an example from 21 at this all-time high, we had broken our previous all-time high, everything was pointing up, and that was the end, right? And it's just a really quick example. There is analysis and trading that goes beyond charts at times, and I think what separates like an expert trader from like a divine trader, I don't know what word I'll use, but like from the next level of expert, is essentially having some grasp or some ability to identify those times. Those times where, man, we have moved down a lot. Everything is looking lower. Maybe that means that we are closer to the bottom than the top. Maybe that means that I should be going against everything, going against the herd. I got off on a rant there. Let me finish with this monthly breakdown, although it's a rantish kind of day. We closed then April above that resistance. We retook that resistance on April's close. This happened at the end of April. May opened above, back, just tagged it quickly at 93.3 on the early open, and now moving higher. So we look at this monthly and we find our candles to the left. Where's logical resistance? It's interesting that it sits really, really close to these green lines we already have. From February's open at 102.4, this is a very solid place to look. Even if you think it's going to continue higher in May, June, July, you may see that pullback finally happen at 102.4 just from this monthly. I'm going to take it off the chart, but it is something to think about. It's so close to 101.7, 101.8 that I think it's just going to be confusing to leave there. So I'm going to take that off. VWAP on the month, oh boy, back to the zero line now that May is cooking. Last time we saw this was in October of last year. We saw that VWAP return to the zero line, and what happened with price? I think you guys remember. You should remember. VWAP returned to the zero line, and into the next 3 months, we saw upside price action get more explosive, stronger, more expansive. We saw 37% monthly candle after the VWAP hit the zero line in October. Is that what's coming? Well, if we hold on to these gains into the end of May, I would say that's likely. It's much more likely than it was at any point over the last 100+ days. That's looking very juicy. Go down to the week. We haven't done this top down in a while. We used to do it every stream. Just kind of got, I don't know, redundant or boring, repetitive. So here we go. If you are in the Join Crown Crypto group, you can go to joincrowncrypto.com and get a free trial. Check it out. I gave this. I said, looking basically up here, we've retaken, this is really simple analysis. There's nothing too expert about it. Anyone could have done this. We've retaken the 618. Let's look to our next upside target on the fib. That's just the 786. That sits roughly here at 100.8. You'll say, but there's two lines there. What's going on with that? I tried something new. You guys know I use the log chart all the time for Bitcoin. I don't really use the regular chart, but I wondered if maybe there's some value in a concept here. And we have made up a lot of our analysis, how we do analysis here on this channel over the last 5-6 years, because when we started, there just wasn't accepted TA practice. Most people thought you can't apply traditional TA to crypto. It doesn't work. They were wrong. But we've had to been forced to just be creative, be dynamic. I always preach that here. And this is maybe the newest element of that. So I'm testing this out. I always use the log chart, but I also admit that there is value in the non-log chart. So what I have is the logarithmic 786, and then also the regular or the non-log 786 on this chart. I don't know why I decided to do this. I just never done it. I was like, what happens if I just start placing both of them? It may be a surprise to a lot of you that on a logarithmic chart versus a non-logarithmic chart, your fib levels are different, and they are. And that is why sometimes you'll be like, Tom, how'd you get that 618? How'd you get that 786? How'd you get that 0.5 that doesn't line up with what I have? Yep. Oh, that disables then. Cool. And that's usually probably because you're on a regular chart, I'm on log. So I'm just going to experiment with this in the future a little bit, putting on both the log and the regular. And I figure at worst it's a little confusing to people looking at it. But at best, maybe we found ourselves a little alpha. Maybe we just even, I guess in the worst case scenario also, it's like we just are aware of where it is on the regular chart. I don't know. It doesn't add too much. So where we have touched so far is exactly to the regular 786. The logarithmic, of course, a little bit below. Maybe price is going to look to interact with both. I'm not sure. This is a little bit of an experiment. I'm going to put it back on log, though, because I'm a log man. Not a normal man. I'm a log man. You're all log men here. If you're here on this channel, you're a log man. Or log woman. Let's see. What do we got? I haven't really experimented here in a little bit. Bollinger Bands are above the 20 line. Interesting here on the week. I do see some opportunity here. If we do reject, or if we do turn around, so those of you voting top is in for this move, if we do see that happen, the weekly 20 or the middle of the Bollinger Band, which are the same thing, is coming up to that yearly open. It is possible that we see a back test of the yearly open again. I would prefer to stay away from it. We've tested it a few times. But I think if we do see a pullback from here, that's the logical place to look. We should probably pull a fib in the other direction, see if it lines up with anything. Not really getting any confluence there. That's okay. One thing that worries me, but is also characteristic of the move that doesn't come back in Bitcoin, is this. Let me get rid of a lot of the crap I just put on here so you don't get visually overstimulated. Is this. On the week, we have moved relatively just up. This is not the way you build support below you on a weekly time frame. In fact, if we just look at the weekly candles, we would say we don't really have support until 78.3 below us. Now, there is absolutely support below us higher than that, but just to keep myself unbiased, keep myself looking, this is a pretty inefficient move to the upside. I started this explanation with, this is usually what I look for on the move that doesn't come back, because in Bitcoin, oftentimes that is the case. So like, let's look back here. I don't know, October of 23, it's just up, right? We had been dicking around. We had been moving sideways. We've been consolidating, chopping, and we just moved up. We didn't come back. This tends to be characteristic of Bitcoin in its like breakout phases when it's very bullish. And even, I'll say in bear markets, in the breakdown phases when it's very bearish. You know, we have these big moves down that do not get filled until much, much later when price comes all the way back around in the cycle, right? So it's a little nerve-wracking, and I think that's actually a good thing because we tend to see the best moves when our nerves are a little racked here. Weekly Ichi still green, has not twisted. We are looking for the Ichi to twist to give us a 26-week early warning about the bull run ending. Has not happened yet. Has not. In fact, if price does move to a new all-time high in the next, I'll say 1, 2, 3 weeks, the next 3 weeks, maybe something like that, we will see the Ichimoku cloud on the week cross up after we got our weak bearish signal cross down in mid-April. And last time this happened, lining up again with October. What's really weird here, and actually now that I'm saying this out loud, remember I didn't do any homework for this. Sorry, I haven't read the chat much. I'm just in the zone right now. Let me cook for a little bit here and I'll get to the chat. Those of you who were here, who have been here, first of all, shout out to you. You're the best. Throughout all this time in the year, you remember how much we talked about August's low looking like April's low. We had all kinds of things on our chart that made them appear similar. That has now played out well. We have seen April's low play out very similarly, even if the rally gets squashed here, to August low. We had like a lower low break. We had the death cross. We had all kinds of things. Can't remember it all off the top of my head. Now, let's look ahead and let's not find what we want to find here, but let's keep this in our mind of, okay, if the low mirrored not just August's low, but then also, what was it back here, September's low of the year before, maybe we should be looking for similarities now to the run up, because the low very much confirming here. Now looking for the run up, what's interesting, and this is why I got kind of pulled off topic here, is that cross up on the week that I was just talking about. If we see price move up a little bit, we'll get that cross up just like October. And remember, we were just talking about October when we were looking at those higher time frames, and the similarities maybe to what's going on here. That is actually very spicy. I don't have enough to go off of at this point to like make this confidently a statement, but I'm going to be looking for similarities now to October of last year and September. You can see September also got this cross up as we broke the range. October, we got the cross up, we broke the range. Here we go. Here we go. I think if price can remain above 93.5, that yearly open, we get that cross and move on to higher highs. That would imply that there could be a long position with a stop below the yearly open, 93.5. Doesn't necessarily matter where you would open it. That's up to you traders, where you want to enter, kind of risk to reward you want to take, etc. But that could imply that a strong trade now would be a long position on a pullback, obviously, with a stop just below the yearly low. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm going to spend some time actually and think about that more in the next few days, maybe over the weekend. Let's go down to the day. Not much there on the cloud. Busting out from the cloud. Let's go to those moving averages. They were so sweet to us. But man, people doubt these moving averages all the time. They just get wrecked. They just constantly get wrecked by it. It's like whenever everyone thinks it's going to be a counter move or something, then it goes the other, I don't know, it goes the other way. When everyone thinks the cross is, it's going to play out the other way, they're wrong. And they think, okay, the cross is actually going to play out the way it's going to play, they're wrong. These crosses are bits of a wee of a dick. Death cross, mark the bottom again. Let's just take a moment to gloat about this and feel good about this. On this channel, during the death cross, we were saying, don't panic. Don't panic. Everything's pointing down, but don't panic. This death cross is coming again. It has come every year in the bull market of this bull market. And each time it has marked the bottom. I mean, eventually that's not going to be true. As soon as a death cross in the day doesn't mark the bottom, I think the bull run's over. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Happened back here in August of 24. We had it this year in April, last year in August, marked the bottom. And we even had it all the way back in September. It is crazy the similarities now between September of 23, October of 24, and April. What, April? September of 23, August of 24, and April of 25. It is creepy how much similarity there is here. Mark the bottom. So this is 3 years in a row, and we said, don't worry. I didn't think we were going to be blasting off this quickly, of course. Thought there could be a lot more chopping, a lot more ranging, maybe another low. But third year in a row, baby. So many people got wrecked on those. Not us. Not us. Bollinger Band. Top of the band. All right. Top of the bands. Man. Hit top of the band in April. Did not touch the middle line. Back to the top. Not bad. Nothing really to diagnose here. Let's look. Daily finally in good condition. Look at this higher high and money flow. Gorgeous. VWAP is up. Remember that monthly VWAP just hitting the zero line. As daily pulls up, momentum's going for another run. RSI hitting a healthy higher high here. This is one of the first times we've seen Bitcoin break out and we don't have super visible bear div on the day. We have a higher high in price, a higher high in RSI. No divergence. That's good. In fact, do we even have it? We don't even have bear div if you look all the way back at this point. Well, maybe here, but that's at this point I think that's like too far away to really look at. I like that. We're an overbought. Beautiful. Let's stay there. What should we throw on here? I threw on 𝐒𝐴LGO quick. Let me see something. Nice uptrend. Almost. Day, where are we going now? Don't hate it. Let's go to the 12 hour. 12 hour, same thing. I'm liking this. A lot of time frames here showing us that same money flow entering the market. Buyers coming in, momentum being bought up. I can see this playing out like this on the 12 hour. A little inverse head and shoulder on the 12 hour momentum. What might that look like? Like 97. Pull back, move higher. Bear div potentially on the 12. Just need to see price and RSI move a little bit higher to invalidate that. Almost done. 12. 4. Dude, everything looks good. Uh-oh. Now I'm getting nervous. The market has gotten into my head. All of the boring, all of the pain, all of the grinding we've had. It's like, oh, it looks good. Now I feel nervous. I think that's also a good sign, honestly. To have a little anxiety here as it moves up. I think most big moves after downtrends begin with it feeling bad, it feeling weird, feeling like nervous about it. You're like, I'm so used to having my hopes built up and smack back down that that now that it's moving up, I'm anxious about it. It's abused us, this market. That's gorgeous. This RSI looks like gold. Jeez, pump it, boys, pump it. Bitcoin, of course, settling down here as we go live. Maybe dropping into a range. Our lows have been coming up. Resistance is being tested. I'm not too worried. Beautiful. All right, real quick, some other charts I want to look at, and then we're going to get to the chat. I know I'm being terrible. Gold, Bitcoin versus gold. We theorized. I can't remember if I did this on stream or if this was in the Crown Crypto group, but theorized that gold may be looking to give up gains versus Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin, yeah. Gold give up gains versus Bitcoin. That's correct. That Bitcoin would outpace gold, or at least in some time frame here. We had seen since the all-time high in Bitcoin, basically December, January, gold went on its big runner, and the Bitcoin gold pair was pulled down. Now, it did not break August's low of the year before, but it did interact with this crazy trend line we found. And we said, I kind of like this. Big gold has been putting on a little bit too much gain. It's been climbing a little too fast, especially for gold. That can't go on forever. You gotta pay the piper at some point. Doesn't mean gold has to plummet, but it needs to at least chill for a little bit, or else it's going to go to infinity, and nothing can go to infinity. We hit this trend line and we said, man, this might be a pretty decent place to look, basically to sell gold, buy Bitcoin. Sell gold, buy Bitcoin. I didn't do this move. Wait, what's going on with my fib? You see that? What the? -3. One. Weird. Someone's been hacking my fib. Someone's been hacking my fib. All right. Didn't quite reach 76. We were initially, or I was initially thinking around here, around the 618. Dumped a little further, got caught by the trend line. Now we're seeing it retrace. Nice, actually. We're going to have to take a look at gold here. Bitcoin moving back to those March levels right now, I think, versus gold and valuation. The reason I've been looking at this more is because we caught something on the next chart I'm going to show you that caught my eye and said, man, this is actually very bully. Damn. Even Bitcoin versus gold is starting to look good on its chart. Daily money flow rolled over. Momentum's catching. Higher highs. Dude, there's higher highs on money flow in the day for like everything. Let's go. This little move has changed so much after a period where the chart was undeniably terrible, just like garbage. Weekly, ooh. Beautiful. Actually, monthly would maybe suggest higher. We'll see. TBD. That chart though is Bitcoin versus the stock market. We caught this little breakout in April. This was an early signal because things were looking still pretty crappy at that point. We caught this and said, damn, this is looking like it wants to go back to its all-time high versus stocks. What's interesting is if you zoom this out, yes, we did hit an all-time high versus 2021 when you compare Bitcoin to stocks. We did hit an all-time high late 25, but it was a really muted high. We didn't put on a lot of gains. This was something also that kept me bullish. I was like, there's no way this bull run is only 16% on this chart. It was immediately knocked back down come January. We back tested pretty cleanly April, March's high of the year before. Now we're climbing back up. This has higher highs to go. This is going to break. This is likely Bitcoin versus stocks. I think is likely to break to new all-time highs before Bitcoin USD. But this was an early signal. I'm going to watch this chart a lot more in the future. This little, where was it? Like back here, it was like April 4th. As we moved into that death cross, this little pump here, this broke highs. It broke structure that we didn't see on BTC USD. Shit. Okay, phone's going off. This chart looking pretty good too. Last but not least, dominance finally taking a break here. This is diverging from Bitcoin pump with Bitcoin dominance pump. They are moving against each other, which has been the case for a good amount of these moves. Dominance is just interesting. There doesn't seem to be one explanation. There doesn't seem to be dominance goes up, Bitcoin goes up, that's a good thing, or dominance down, Bitcoin a good thing, dominance up, Bitcoin down, good thing. Like it seems to kind of jump back and forth. Overall, dominance has moved up with price, and that correlation has been pretty good since 22. You can see this has basically just been going up. Bitcoin basically has just been going up if you look at the swing lows and highs. But right now, dominance pulling back here as Bitcoin breaks out like 100K for the first time in months. In February, dominance exploded as Bitcoin dumped on the 3rd. Doesn't seem to be like a super consistent read here. A lot of people getting excited about this candle. I would caution that. I would caution against that. Our wick from February 3rd was tested as support here on the day, but coming back down, not really threatening. We have seen much bigger retracements lead to higher highs. Would not be out of the world to see dominance come back down and just to bounce higher. I don't think it's done. Let me see. I think that's all the charts I wanted to look at. Dollar. What's interesting, honestly, about today is the dollar is up, stocks are up, and Bitcoin is up. And is gold up? And gold is, wait, that's the week. Gold is down. All right, gold's the only one that's down. That makes it less interesting. I thought all of them were up. I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. All right, there's my long-winded bullshittery. Just meant to vibe, and I'm sitting here talking. How long did I talk for? 40 minutes? No, 30 minutes. 30 minutes? Okay. 360 viewers. Dude, what brings people to YouTube now to watch content? I don't know. This is the most exciting day, in my opinion, since maybe like the bottom in April. All the way back here. Like, this is the most exciting day. We just brought back to 100K. Where's everybody? Where everybody at? I see you, brother. I got your message on WhatsApp. I know you're out there, my friend. I won't say your name. You know who you are. You guys are the best. You're here, but wow. Like, I don't know. Is it just alt pumps now? Retail's gone. True. What's up, Angela? You agree? A new beginning. It does kind of feel like a new beginning. What if this cycle, because, I mean, we have had some divergence from other cycles already. All-time high pre-halving is like the biggest one. What if this cycle is just a lot of these? What if this cycle, instead of blowing off top, instead of going into a Q4 all-time high, that's like, crazy pump blast off, right? What if we just keep seeing this? What if we just continue to see these 6 month, 7 month, 8 month pullback, consolidation, new high, that high gets destroyed, 6 month, 8 month consolidation? What if we just keep doing that? I don't think we have the evidence yet. We'll see Q4 to like say with confidence that that's happening. But what if? This has been weird. We have not seen strong pullbacks. In place of strong pullbacks and lower prices, we have these long sideways periods of grind that pop off, grind, pop off, grind, pop off. What if that just keeps continuing? And instead of the big bear market that we know, right? We just have these like kind of smaller, almost 1 year cycles where we have a bull run and a bear market back to back to back to back. That would be interesting. The only reason that I even am like thinking about this is, one, it would be cool. Two, it kind of seems to fit what's been happening. But in reality, the reason that my brain goes here is this period with gold. Gold had done nothing from the 80s all the way until 2004. It literally did nothing for 1,200 weeks, 22 years, did nothing. Something very important happened in 2004 for gold. Gold's behavior changed drastically. I don't remember the exact date for 2004. It's 2004. Changed drastically. And its behavior shifted to kind of what I'm suggesting here, just as a thought experiment, not as I'm calling this to happen, not yet, but as a thought experiment. Gold would move up and then just spend months, 6 months, 12 months, moving sideways, break up, retrace, 12 months, 6 months, sideways, move up, sideways, move up, sideways. It didn't have like a kaboom, like kaboom, very technical words that we're used to in crypto. It just started moving up and to the right. The pullbacks became smaller. The moves up were not big either, but it was more of a sustained climb. So the important thing that happened here was the first spot first spot gold ETF. That is like almost undeniable in this timing. Gold ETF started in 2004, and then for about 10 years, gold did up to the right. There were pullbacks, but the pullbacks, honestly, like they remind me of Bitcoin. It's just like crappy sideways chop that eventually breaks to the upside. People get bored, breaks to the upside. What if that happens? That'd be cool. I don't know, actually. It wouldn't be cool, because what it might suggest is that like YouTube, these streams are going to like perpetually be in this cycle of very, very, very small amounts of time of excitement with very, very, very long periods of boring and sideways and people not being checked in. I don't know. Something to think about. If we don't see a blow off top by the end of this year and we're just still kind of in this weird pattern, we don't see a collapse into Q1 of 26, certainly would wreck everyone. I think that would wreck everyone. Everyone will say, haha, it's the same 4-year cycle. Now it's time to sell. And it just never goes back. We got our ETF when, right? Here. This is our ETF. What if we're starting that same up and to the right? The super cycle of boredom. The super boredom cycle, but the super gains cycle. How can we make gains as boring as possible? That's how I think it's done. Here we go. Looking good. What would I consider a blow off top? That's a really great question. Of course, that's going to be like very abstract and objective. If it weren't for 2021 cycle, I would say a blow off top. I would look for a doubling in price in a small window of time. I'd say like in a month or less. In a month, like maybe a max 2 months, but like a doubling in price. That's what I would have looked for in the past. We did not have that, right? Actually, I don't remember what the exact. You know what? maybe we did have that. Maybe 2021 sits in it as well. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Doubling a price. This isn't the small amount of time though. That's like 4 months. We 100% gain. This is where my mind goes. My mind will always just go back to 2017 when we got 5,000 to 10,000 was a few days. 10,000 to 20,000 was fewer days. A blow off top, maybe we need to be describing it as like a parabolic move. We have a strong rally. That rally pulls back and the pullback gets bought up, and that pullback being bought up creates a larger gain percent-wise, right? In a smaller amount of time. So maybe we need to see a very strong move to the upside, a pullback, and then a bigger move that is in a smaller time frame. So like a blow off top, I guess would be characterized, I'm like learning this as I say it out loud, by back-to-back rallies that increase in strength, like percent gain, and decrease in the amount of time they take. So basically faster, the gains come faster and faster and faster and faster until it's over. Until the moment where it looks the most like it's going to keep going. And then it ends. There you go. It's abstract. It's a hard thing to describe. There's no, if anyone gives you a definition that's like, it has to be this or that, like percent Y, it has to be like 10%. They're just making it up. There's no definition in that sense. There's no defining it like that. Blow off top, yeah, I think the best way is just like a rally that continues to gain momentum. Moves happening, they're bigger and faster until they just stop. That's the blow off top. Bubble, yeah, Alex Heller, that same thing. Bubble, blow off top, same thing. Those are synonyms, I'd say. Brazil, Salvador. What's up, Brazil? Last year, we went from 38.5 to 74 in Q1. Q1's 3 months. Q1 is 3 months. Last year, or do you mean 38? What? Q1 38 to 74? Well, you know, even at my original definition, it's not even 100% gain, which not even 100% gain, right? The time. So like the timing is just as important, I would say, in this as price, like percent gain. It needs to increase in gain percent and decrease in the amount of time that passes. So it's like, yeah, it's a bubble. You're looking for a bubble to burst. Bubble. And I'm saying maybe we get things more like this. I mean, it's to be determined. We're not there yet. But maybe we get things that are more like this, where we move, then we sideways for a long period of time with limited pullback, up, sideways, down for a limited amount of time, up, sideways, down. This is much more sustainable. This is a much more sustained rally because it's not allowing that bubbling. It's not allowing like the blow off top. It's like, it's edging is what it is. It's gooning. It's edging. It's like letting things get to that boiling point almost and then turning the heat off, letting them cool back down till they're icy, then turning the heat back on. Take a lot longer to boil pasta that way. Maybe it'll take longer for the run to end. I don't know. Alts are doing all right. All right on this red dominance day with Bitcoin USD moving up. XRP right to resistance. This makes me a little skeptical. Right to resistance, lower high right here at XRP, 225. You want to see a close above 225. That'll be a good signal for 250 and a higher high from April. You can see that on the week best. Still time. I believe in you, little guy. If Bitcoin keeps moving up, all these boats are going to keep all the ships will rise. This is a very clean chart now. XRP, potential bottom, order block, move up, order block, move up, maybe order block again. This is really clean actually. 225 to 250. If May closes above 225 but doesn't test 250, there's probably a trade on XRP from 225 to 250. Is Sol moving? Well, Sol's moving. Did not pull back again to that 50 daily. I'm going to delete this because it was the right idea. But at this point, I don't want to confuse people. The big takeaway for Sol is we were looking for 180-ish. Basically, there's a big gap up here, the 200-day being the most attractive. And at this point, it looks like Sol's reaching for it. It's broken its high in April. Looking for like 170, 171, 180. Coming up here. There is resistance up here. I think there's going to be a lot of profit taking here. This might put extra downward pressure on Sol when it reaches this area that other parts of the market might not see. If the market's hot enough, it might just blast through it. Death Cross did not mark the bottom in March. Be careful here. On the day with Sol, I can see a test of the 200. Rejecting would probably be healthier. Come back to that 50 like we were looking for. But if it blasts through the 200 and you see a golden cross here, I would assume when that golden cross happens, that will be the local top of that move. You still got a bunch of time though. That's like months away still. Is anything? Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. It's looking more and more like I sold the top and bought the bottom of Ethereum, isn't it? Wow. Ethereum having a day. This is likely why dominance is red. Ethereum finally broke a previous support. Finally broke a previous support, flipped to resistance. Held 1,750. Now making a move to 2,150. Interesting. We've been pointing this out, and I was like, this isn't, you know, go crazy, super bullish mode, but Ethereum has done nothing but test support, lower high, breakdown. Test support, lower high, breakdown. Like reject from previous supports, resistance, breakdown, breakdown. This was the first time where it hit a support, bounced, and was able to at all hold on to that previous support level. And we said, this is worth paying attention to. That's aging pretty well now as Ethereum's up $250 today. It's probably leading the top caps at 14% gain. This was coupled with something I told you about for a while, and this gave me a little bit more confidence here. I'm still not sold that Ethereum is going to make some crazy new highs against Bitcoin, but this is aging pretty well. 0.018 or 179. You guys watched me sell my Ethereum over the last few years. I didn't buy any back. I told you guys I'd let you know. I defined and laid out if FBTC reaches 0.018, I will look to rebuy some of the Ethereum I sold. I did. I rebought some, just like I said I would. And now we're getting a little bounce here. This has a long way to go to like convince me that this is actually bullish. But let's see what happens. Ethereum versus dollars was having that problem of breakdown lower high, continuously rejecting from previous support. Let's see what happens. Ethereum could come all the way back up to 0.25, which is a 25% gain against Bitcoin, which means if Bitcoin did not move, Ethereum could gain 20% USD to make this happen. If it can break through, start moving up, we might have a V-shaped bottom. We might have a more bullish midterm ahead of us. However, it's going to be really important what happens here. We have seen that happen on the USD pair a lot, rejecting from previous support. So I want to see a break and maybe we can begin a good climb. But the combination of that support on the FBTC pair hitting, you can see, boom, boom, hit support on USD. Now moving up, that is the best Ethereum has looked in a long time. In a very long time. I'm rooting for you, bud. I think USD pair needs to see 2,500, which is interesting because that's almost exactly that 25% gain I just was talking about. Spicy. This would be the worst case scenario. If it rejects from 2,500, like that's bear market for Ethereum. That's lights out, but has not happened yet. Bitcoin's being a dick. It's just doing nothing now that we went live, and it's waiting for me to end the live, as it always does when it does this. I don't think this rally's over, honestly. 37% of you said pumped a new all-time high. I don't think that's crazy. I don't think it's crazy that 68% of us think it's going to at least 110. I don't know if it's going right now to 110 today, right, this week, but I don't think this is done. I think we're going to see, man, I think we're going to see at least 102. Even if we get a pullback, there's plenty of areas for this to get bid up. Man, I'm glad people are feeling bullish here. I'm glad people are feeling bullish here specifically because we don't have a ton of retail. We don't have a ton of new people asking, should I buy? Let's all be very aware. Next time people come in here saying, should I buy Bitcoin? Should I buy Bitcoin? Let's be more aware than we have been in the past. Nobody's saying that. You guys are bullish. This is the bare bones crew. I think that's a good thing. Man. All right. Let's see. We're going to be live again tomorrow, by the way. Go more upper. Your retail friend says he's waiting for 50K. Excellent, Iceberg. Keep him there. Keep him there. Keep him there. Tell him for sure. For sure. Definitely just wait for that 50K. You know what's funny though? Is we were talking about kind of the stair-step gold thing. If that doesn't happen and we just have like a normal cycle where we get like, I don't know, like a normal cycle, I would say would look maybe like this, right? He may get that 50K. Like if we just have a normal 4-year cycle, if it just plays out as it's always played out, 50K would not be like a crazy downside target, right? 70%. 70%. Yeah, like that would be, even from 150 or 160, 170K, that'd be a smaller retracement than the previous cycle. So your friend might end up, like if he did wait for 50K, he might end up filling there. But you know what will happen. If all of this happens and he doesn't buy at 160, 170, which is like just as likely if he's waiting for 50 right now. If he watches this all happen and it goes back to 50, he's not buying at 50. 50 comes and he's like, I'm waiting for sub 10. I'm waiting for 25. I'm waiting. Nah. The perpetual about to buy retail. They're so charming. We are going to be live again tomorrow, by the way. I just wanted to get on and vibe with you guys for a little bit, get some thoughts out. Tomorrow we'll take a bunch of requests. We'll do a bunch of BS. Tomorrow also in the Crown Crypto group, I will be doing the exclusive Q&A trading session with the group. So if you're in there, make sure you tune in tomorrow after the live. Don't miss that. If you're not in the group, go to joincrowncrypto.com, get your free week trial. Join us tomorrow after the stream. It's a good time. Small group. You'll get to ask questions using voice. You don't have to text in a chat where the chat's just going nuts and you can barely even tell if the message is being seen or even if it got sent. Hopefully some more of you guys join tomorrow for that. And I'm actually getting a little bit of a headache, so I'm going to end the stream. I know, I'm terrible. I know. I barely read the chat. I'm a dick. A little DGen Friday, Tom? Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm going to end it there. My head actually just started hurting. My allergies are bad. But join tomorrow on the live stream. Join crowncrypto.com. You want to join in the little exclusive stream after. And stay bullish, my friends. We're always right. Literally, you just stay bullish on Bitcoin. There's these long periods where people tell you how wrong you are and how stupid you are. And then eventually, they're wrong and you're right. And it doesn't go the other way. It never goes the other way. If they stay bearish, eventually they're always wrong. So just stay bullish. Doesn't mean slam leverage longs all the time, but just stay bullish. Wait the course and good things come. Love you, fam.